It's time for At Home with the RubberDucks, powered by First Energy. 640 WHLO gets you closer to your hometown team with stories of the game and updates from the season ahead.
Line to left center, that's a base hit and a game winner for the Akron RubberDucks.
Akron RubberDucks baseball, affordable family fun.
High drive to right, that's well hit, back, that ball is gone, it's a home run.
Here's your hosts, Marco Lanave and Jim Clark.
Welcome into this edition of At Home with the RubberDucks. Marco Lanave joined by Jim Clark, and we are now giving you the second to last episode of At Home with the RubberDucks this season, and we're following a theme that we've had talking to the various managers that have come through Akron and over the years. And Jim, this week you got a chance to talk with one of the recent ones who's made quite an impression both as a player and player development.
So David Wallace is one of those rising stars. And, David led us to our last championship in 2016. And he's named the Manager of the Year, the Baseball America Manager of the Year. And then he steps away from managing. At a young age, he was missing his kids and wasn't forced to do it. And he'll talk about this, but he steps away from managing at a time when you're thinking, well, he's got the skills to maybe go all the way to the big leagues. He'd already been with the Indians as a bullpen catcher before becoming a manager in the organization. And his stock is still very high. He's the catching coordinator. He was a catcher in the minor leagues the entire time he was with the Indians organization, a catcher at Vanderbilt, a quarterback at Vanderbilt. But he's a multi-talented guy who is really missing baseball right now. He's not part of the Lake County situation. He's down a little south of Jacksonville. But he talks about coming from Vanderbilt, getting to the Indians, and he really, and you'll hear, he's a very intelligent baseball guy. And it was really a pleasure to catch up with David.
And what I enjoyed was part of your conversation with him, how he got to follow a couple of the key figures now for the Indians, Jose Ramirez, Francisco Lindor. He was on that player development track following them. He saw them before they became big names in Cleveland.
He was with them right from the beginning, and he goes, hey, I just put their name in the lineup card, and I get out of the way. And I really like when he said that, but he's more than that, believe me. But, he's great for the young players, for a young guy to be such a player's manager. And he was in here during the whirlwind season, during the All-Star game, and what a job he did All-Star week in handling all these players, his club, multiple player moves. But we had Zimmer and Frazier both at that time, and we would lose them both after the All-Star game. And you lose J.P. Firewise in the big trade for Andrew Miller, and but he just kept that club going. Greg Allen joins the club, and you talk about a guy that lit a fire under the ball club. He joined us. Greg Allen was a major reason why Akron won that last championship in 2016.
Yeah, and after that year, like you mentioned, David stepped away from managing, but has a really good pulse on what is modern player development, and he had some interesting insight about why the pitchers might be ahead of the hitters in the major league season so far.
We talked about that at length afterwards. And, I've always felt the pitchers, they should be ahead because they can go through their routines without anybody else. Just find a catcher. They can throw their bullpens to everything they're supposed to do. But the hitters, you can work off a machine all you want. It's not the same. You know that. And it's just a timing thing. And I think somewhere they'll find a way to work that where if this ever happens again, Lord, I hope it doesn't. But the hitters, they did their part, but you can only do so much. And we talk about that. He's got ideas, but the pitchers are so far ahead right now. And taking nothing away from them because you still got to hit your spots. But they're ahead, and you can see it.
Well, we're excited to listen to David Wallace chatting with you, Jim, and want to remind all of you listeners, you can still get a discount on RubberDucks caps in the online team shop. Just use the promo code RADIO when you check out, and you get a 20% discount off of RubberDucks caps. So we've heard from a few managers in the franchise history, and now we get to visit with the most recent to win a championship, and the first to do so with the Akron RubberDucks name. And again, a reminder, Next week will be our final episode of At Home with the Rubber Ducks for the 2020 season. We certainly appreciate you staying with us all of this time and being able to talk some baseball. So let's get into the conversation Jim had with David Wallace.
We're talking with David Wallace. David's the former manager with the Rubber Ducks, now the special assistant for player development involving catching. And David, thanks for taking the time with us today.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Glad to be here.
Well, you know, David, you come out of Tennessee, which is just a great place. Did you always want to play collegiately in the great state of Tennessee?
You know, as long as I was playing baseball somewhere, I was happy, and that was my goal. What was funny is I was getting more attention to play after high school for football than I was necessarily baseball as far as colleges go. There's a little bit of pro interest, but wasn't going to be a high draft pick or anything. But I made sure in all my conversations with any of the football recruiters or coaches that they knew baseball was going to be somewhere in the mix, you know, and just figuring out how that played out. But couldn't be more, you know, happy with how it did play out, and opportunity to go to Vanderbilt and then sign and, you know, be a part of the great Cleveland Indians organization.
What an experience. You're at Vandy as a quarterback and then as a catcher.
Yeah, you know, it was, you know, growing up in Nashville, obviously Vanderbilt was and is such a well-respected school academically and across several different formats. Football, not necessarily being one of those that we excel at the top. And shoot, at the time, this was back 1998 and early 2000, baseball, their program wasn't what it is now either. But, you know, Jim, I'm very lucky, and I'm glad I did what I did as far as I went to Vanderbilt on the football scholarship, and they had agreed to let me play both sports from the beginning. Some of the other schools were going to, you know, if I went on football scholarship, they said, well, you can play baseball, but you need to give football your full first year, and then you can go play baseball. I didn't want to take that whole year off, and I kind of got the feeling that they were going to, you know, that was their time to sway me away from baseball. And so ended up going to Vanderbilt, had a great experience there. I look back and I probably even knew it then. I wasn't good enough to split time at that level in that league and excel at either one necessarily. So, you know, got a chance really to get in there and get some game time and some playing time, some snaps my true freshman year, which was, there's some other, you know, there's stories and those are some up and downs there, but they honored their commitment to let me play baseball as well. And certainly didn't help my chances of getting on the field and, you know, maintaining the starting quarterback position, which, you know, looking back, it's, you know, my motivation was more on the baseball field. That's where my passion was. So that kind of faded and ended up playing 2 years. And then my junior year, I just focused on baseball. So all that to say again, like to end it in an opportunity to sign with the Indians after and enjoy the last 20 years in the organization, I couldn't ask for much more than that.
Well, you come to the Indians in 2002. You reach every level in the minor league organization, and you had time at Akron. And, David, you were always, when we look back on those years and we talk about guys who excelled at certain things, well, you were a great defensive catcher.
That was where my strengths were, probably after Lake County. Never really got the bat going again. And, you know, it happens. It wasn't a lack of effort or putting in the work. You know, you reach that level of baseball and the pitching gets that much better. And for whatever reason, the bat didn't really develop. But as we've seen over the years, a good defensive catcher is certainly worth its weight in gold. And I enjoyed that part of it. I enjoyed helping develop a pitching staff and kind of being that bridge, that gap between pitchers and position players, which I think is such an important role for a catcher, just because you end up, you know, pitchers are doing their thing and, you know, everybody's in the same clubhouse and on the same team, but it just, you're putting in work in different areas, whether the hitter's in the batting cage and that type. And I think it's good to have, you want to have those players that kind of bridge the gap and bring everybody together as one, not just, two separate units, kind of similar on a football team. You don't just want your defensive guys and your offensive guys, it's all one team. So I enjoyed that, and there's always a need for catching. So probably could have hung around and maybe, had a job and played a couple more years, but I saw the writing on the wall, and especially when I got a chance to go see, the big leagues and really see that pitching, I was not too confident in my ability to hit at that level. So, it wasn't that hard of a decision for me to move on. And then again, the opportunity to move on into some coaching and some managing was very attractive to me.
That was David Wallace, and this portion of At Home with the Rubber Ducks was brought to you in part by Abrams Hospitality, Fairfield Inn and Suites, and the Courtyard by Marriott, Akron Fairlawn, all presenting Rubber Ducks Baseball. More with David Wallace right after this.
You're listening to At Home with the Rubber Ducks on 640 WHLO, your new home for Akron RubberDucks Baseball, powered by First Energy.
Here at Sarah Auto Park, community service has always been a priority of ours. These days, that spirit is more important than ever. Join us as we do everything we can to take care of our doctors, nurses, all other essential businesses, and their employees. If our community needs us for anything, even to safely get a bag of groceries to our most vulnerable, we're here. We'll get through this together. Sarah Auto Park.
This is RubberDucks broadcaster Marco LaNave. When people ask me who's the #1 pick for print and copy solutions in the Akron area, I tell them Meritech, the pride of the RubberDucks for the past 9 years. Meritech's roster also includes IT consulting, cloud voice and data services for a powerhouse lineup to reduce risk, control costs, and increase productivity. So call Team Meritech today and tell them the RubberDucks sent you. Meritech Technology to empower your business.
Exceptional care means having access to world-class physicians and services. That's the care Cleveland Clinic Akron General provides to Akron and the surrounding communities. Whether it's primary care or specialized services, we put your needs first with care that is comprehensive and, best of all, close to home. Cleveland Clinic Akron General is committed to the community and your health. To learn more about our services close to you, visit akrongeneral.org.
KeyBank makes it easy to manage your money anytime, anywhere.
I am crushed for time.
KeyBank can help.
How? And how soon?
You have a smartphone?
I have to. It keeps me organized.
Download the KeyBank mobile app and then use your phone to deposit checks on the go, transfer money, even pay bills automatically.
Awesome.
Indeed. Learn how you can make even more financial progress when you use the Red Key, only at KeyBank. Visit key.com or your local branch. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for a great apartment with the best location? Fir Hill Towers Apartments is just a 5-minute walk to the University of Akron or a 5-minute drive downtown. You'll find spacious living, convenience, and fun with a wide variety of restaurants and entertainment just outside your door. Perfectly suited for young professionals and students on the go looking for off-campus living. Stop by 55 First Street Hill, Akron, or call 330-762-7000. That's 330-762-7000 today and reserve your apartment home.
For a lawn that looks as good as Canal Park, depend on Grassmaster. They're a locally owned and operated full-service lawn and landscape company. The development of a healthy and attractive lawn or landscape requires a great deal of time and hard work. It's Grassmaster's commitment to providing the necessary ingredients of knowledge and treatment materials to develop a healthy and attractive lawn or landscape. By choosing Grassmaster as your lawn and landscape company, you are assuring that your investment is protected and will grow in value year after year. Visit thegrassmaster.com.
Everyone at Honda wants you to be safe. And right now, you need a car you can count on and your dealer to go the extra mile. So if your Honda needs parts or service, we're right here ready to help. Working to follow all government guidelines in order to get you what you need and help you stay safe with a reliable car that's ready to go when you need it.
Visit NorthernOhioHondaDealers.com.
Your business has a story to tell. Let Fast Signs Medina help you using the right mix of visual communication solutions like signs, banners, digital displays, fleet graphics, mobile marketing, health and safety communications, and so much more. Give Fast Signs Medina your business challenge and we'll come up with a plan to grow your business, reach more customers, and accomplish more than you ever thought possible. Fast Signs Medina. More than fast, more than signs, more than ready to help you grow your business. Call today and say Go Ducks for your discount.
This is At Home with the Rubber Ducks on 640 WHLO.
Relay home, it is not in time. Two-run double by Mejia. Akron now leads it 6-2.
Your new home for Rubber Ducks baseball, powered by First Energy.
Welcome back. This is Jim Clark, and this portion of At Home with the Rubber Ducks is brought to you in part by Precious Cargo Trailways and Your Pizza Shop, both presenting Rubber Ducks baseball. Now more with David Wallace. You make the transition and you make all the stops in the Indians organization up to the point of Mahoning Valley, Lake County, Carolina, Akron. You see a lot of Lindor and Ramirez on your way up.
I certainly did. And it just happened. My last year playing was 2008 and got the opportunity to spend 2009 and 2010 in the big leagues doing the bullpen catching and just kind of being an assistant on those staffs. 2009 being Eric Wedge, and then 2010 is when Manny Acta and his group were coaching up there. And I say that to say the luckiest or the best timing I had was going down and starting my managing career in 2011, which was Lindor's draft class. So we saw him there at the end. You know, I know that the signing timetables and the draft and all that has changed a little bit, but we just saw Frankie there maybe the last 5-6 games of the season in Mahoning Valley. But then, next year in Lake County, then Carolina, and then a little bit in Akron. And, I mean, we all see what he is now and what he's become, but, to see him at those beginning stages and that level and to see not only the talent that he had, but just his humility and his groundedness was something that was really special and was really fun to watch those years. I've had people say, "Oh, you did such a good job with Frankie and developing him." And I said, I just laughed because he was the type of player, I did a great job writing his name in the lineup and then getting out of his way because, that kid, he has a focus that you don't see every day, and the drive, and then the discipline to kind of ignore and move past some of the distractions that come with being a player, with his talent and his skill. And then, of course, when Jose Ramirez joined us after the All-Star break in Lake County that year, not just me, but we all knew, anybody that came and watched knew that we had something special coming up to Cleveland very soon, and that's obviously been proven right now.
Well, you get your way to Akron in 2014, and you're successful almost at every stop. And the time at Akron was such a fun time for us. And that 2016 team, what a magical year that was. You host the All-Star game. You're part of a team at that point with a lot of high prospects, mainly in Bradley Zimmer and Clint Frazier.
Yep. I mean, just like you said, a magical year, so much fun. The All-Star game, all the festivities and everything was just a blast to be watching and to see players like Bradley and Clint. And then that was a big year as far as when, we had a lot of scouts watching because there was a lot of trade rumors, and, we were trying to help. Obviously the big league club knew they were in the mix that year and, wanted to add something, I can't remember, bullpen, whatever it might be, to finish out that year. And everyone pretty much knew, either Zimmer or Frazier was going to be in one of those deals. So that was interesting dealing with and watching and how that all unfolded. But how both of those guys and the team remained focused and united and just played for each other, and it was really neat and really fun to see it end up with a championship. And that's something that I cherish and certainly will never forget.
You look at the pitching staff, and Michael Peoples wins 12 games, Rob Kaminsky 11. The former Armando goes up, he's 10-3. DJ Brown won 8 games. Percy Gardner comes out of nowhere, basically. When he was with us, he was unhittable that year.
He was. He had that turbo sinker, and it was filth. He rode that thing all the way to the big leagues. So that's what's fun, is seeing what guys have done, beyond that season and how it propelled him. Michael Peoples is over pitching in Korea right now, I believe, and having a good year there. But yeah, really neat. And a lot of the players and staff on that team, we remain, whether it's group text or emails or what it might, fantasy football leagues, we all still communicate relatively regularly, and it's something that I'm very proud of.
Well, we got to see a little bit of Cam Hill that year. Only 10 ball games, but he was pretty much in the same boat as a lot of the other guys were. He pitched very, very well in just a short period of time.
He did. I mean, those guys, it was fun to go out and watch them play, and they played for each other and they competed. Things weren't always great, and going our way, as is the case with any team or season or shooting life for that matter. But coming together and working towards a common goal, those guys, they were a great example of that. And, Cam was certainly a great addition, and he wasn't there as long as some of the others, but, man, when he went out, competed, it was inspiring, and it's fun to watch him now up there with an Indians uniform on.
Well, the bats were so productive. Melly Rodriguez, 26 homers. You had Frazier before he leaves his 13, Zimmer 14, Jeremy Lucas 12, Eric Haas 12. Joe Sever steady all year. Hankins in the infield, Jordan Smith as well, Eric Stamets, Mike Pappy. You can go on and on, Ivan Castillo. But when Greg Allen came, it really kicked in that second half of the year.
It did. Yeah, you're right. And Greg's such a weapon in so many different ways. Obviously, he can run, but he can really change a game in the outfield and then at the plate as well. And has some pop, so can put the ball in the gap or over an outfielder's head or even over the fence. But then also can beat out a little dribbler in the infield and then shoot. Putting pressure on the defense when he's on the bases. I remember, being in the third base box, coaching third base, and just, when he get on, I was just excited to watch it and to see how the defense is going to handle him, which there wasn't a whole lot they could do. Some guys just play by instincts and that type of thing, and Greg certainly has that, but he really dove in to some of the intricacies of picking up, whether it's signs that the pitcher's giving us tips, of how to get a better jump, what their times are, maybe something he's doing differently. And that, I remember we, looped, Sandy in the mix, and Sandy was gracious enough to spend some time with Greg and, what he sees at the big leagues from the first base box and stuff to look for. And Greg really dove into that. I think that's really benefited him in his career.
That was David Wallace, and this portion of At Home with the RubberDucks is brought to you in part by Johnny Lote's Latin Street Corn and Akron Zoo, both presenting RubberDucks baseball. More with David Wallace right after this.
You're listening to At Home with the RubberDucks on 640 WHLO, your new home for Akron RubberDucks baseball, powered by First Energy. This is At Home with the RubberDucks on 640 WHLO.
Here's the relay. The throw home will not be made. That's an inside the park home run.
Your new home for RubberDucks baseball, powered by First Energy.
Welcome back. This is Jim Clark. And this portion of At Home with the RubberDucks is brought to you in part by Suma Health and High Voltage Karting, both presenting RubberDucks baseball. Now more with David Wallace. You win 77 games, you win the division, And the playoffs were, it was kind of an easy run. It's 3-1 with Altoona, then you sweep Trenton, and hey, you're league champs.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those, like, it just was all coming together. It wasn't something that, I'd say it's something that we planned, certainly didn't force. I remember our conversations with the staff, with Tony Arnold and, Tim Laker and Luke Carlin were there, and that's what we were talking about, not really forcing something. It's up to the players. I mean, that's the bottom line. We just wanted to put them in an environment, have a culture that was not full of pressure to perform, but just one of focus and of unity, and then just, a freedom as well, freedom to just go out and play and have fun with the game. And that turned out they did it, and they ran with it. And I mean, there were some close games. It didn't feel like we just, sleptwalked through it, but it certainly worked out well. And again, that was win them fast and then get home to mama.
And what's so impressive to me is the fact that, and this happens in almost, it seems like every year, what you start with in April, you never finish with that in
Right.
September.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's definitely, you look at that championship team roster at the end, it certainly was different in the beginning. But, there's some guys, and you mentioned Joe Sever. That's a type of guy. That's a guy that had been at that level before, in fact, longer than most, would want to be at a certain level, but had the right attitude, the right work ethic, didn't feel sorry for himself, was out there as an example. And those type of guys, Michael Peoples is one of those guys as well, that they have more influence than a coaching staff probably ever could, because it's just more effective when the players are living it instead of just hearing, the coaches preach about it. And they made my job and our job much, much easier.
It was so big for the younger players to see the veterans who are at AA thinking, well, these guys think they shouldn't be here. But as you say, they go about their business every day. They don't complain. And I think it picks everybody up every day.
It does. There's no doubt about it. A lot of times people think, well, veteran, that's a weird word to say for someone that's in the minor leagues. But when you really look at it and you look at what each one of these players go through from Little League all the way through, you've got the kind of that elite class of prospects that just fly through a system, a la Francisco Lindor, and he just kind of moved every level. In fact, he could have moved faster than we might have moved him through the levels. But the reality is, I mean, it is a very tough industry, and there's so many different levels, and you got to work your way through each one, and the opportunities got to be there, and it's a very difficult, I guess, mindset to have to persevere some of that. And when you get guys, that have been at a level, the AA level a year or two or even 3 years, that is a big deal for those guys just coming into their first year at AA, because each level is different, but seems to be the jump from single A to AA is that's a real big jump for those guys. And you start seeing more of the older players that have been around longer. It's a different style of play, and it takes that extra level of, whether it's mental focus or emotional, controlling your emotions, but to be successful at that level is a little bit different than the single A levels. And that's why, you hear a lot, and you've watched it, over the years, guys that can be successful and consistent in AA, they're knocking on the door. They've got a real chance. You can have confidence they're going to be able to, I guess I'll say, what you're going to get from them in the big leagues. If you can trust them and you've watched them and they can perform in AA, you have a good idea of what you're going to get, AAA and then hopefully the big leagues.
So 2016 ends. You're named the Baseball America Manager of the Year. We're all thinking, hey, probably AAA next, and really after that, who knows? But you decide to step back from the managerial position.
Yeah, very tough decision. You know, the timing was probably winning the championship, and the Manager of the Year award was great. I genuinely, to me, that is a team, even an organization-wide award, because, you know, there's so much more that goes into it than, you know, just the manager and his decisions or whatever it might be. But, yeah, so, you know, had 2 kids at home and was going through the levels and the life of professional baseball, leaving home about February for spring training, going straight from spring training into the season, coming back maybe for a few days after the season in September, but then going back out to Arizona for instructional league or whatever development programs we have out there. And, you know, my wife and I, Lauren and I, were just kept talking, and I give her a whole lot of credit. She never said, you need to pick baseball or pick managing or us. It was never that conversation, but it was, you're missing a lot. You know, there's a lot going on. And we're so fortunate. You know, I'm down here in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida right now, just outside of Jacksonville, kind of beach side of Jacksonville. And as much as I love living here and what a great place to raise a family, this place works against my opportunities in baseball or what I would what I had envisioned in baseball. And I say that because it's such a great place to live that I didn't want to, you know, school systems, family, community, all that. I didn't want to take them out of that to go follow me through my journey. And one of the biggest eye openers was, you know, okay, let's say we do get to the big leagues. Like, hey, there's a lot of stuff that is better. There's no doubt quality of life can go up in the big leagues, and you're traveling, you know, to some really neat different cities, but the season's longer, you know, your days are longer, as they should be, because you're at the highest level. And it just got to a point where right now, the window we are with our kids, we decided me being home more and having a little more control of the schedule was worth it for us. And believe me, Jim, I miss the dugout more than anything, but the opportunity to be home some more and, you know, get involved with some of the kids' activities and stuff has been great.
What was a normal summer like for you when you became the catching coordinator? How much time could you spend at home during the summer?
Yeah, so it's still a good amount, you know, out on the road. And I always try to make a point. Like, I know baseball's not the only industry or you know, this wasn't the only job where parents or caretakers have to make a sacrifice, you know, where they have to be away or, you know, travel, whatever it might be. But what made this work for us was to have a little bit more control of the schedule and avoid those really long periods of time without seeing each other. Because once I left for spring training, you got to wait till the kids finish school, then they come out and see you, and then they leave before the season ends, go back to start school again. But now I'm able to, you know, pick and choose a couple weeks, a month, or a couple series, 4 or 5 game trips, schedule those, then come back home, you know, for another week, and then able to go out from there. So it's kind of more of those short, quick trips as opposed to, you know, 2-3 months without seeing each other. And that's worked really well for us right now. I could not be more grateful for the opportunity. You know, Chris Antonetti, Mike Chernoff, even Tito supporting that. I mean, that list goes on and on. Tom Wiedenbauer, all those guys, for letting me have that opportunity. And it just further solidifies the type of people that they are and how our values line up. You know, it's people first. It's family first. Yes, we are absolutely committed to winning a World Series, but not at the cost of, families and friends and other values that are important as well.
That was David Wallace, and this portion of At Home with the Rubber Ducks was brought to you in part by Planet Fitness and 5 Star Meats, both presenting Rubber Ducks Baseball. More with David Wallace right after this.
You're listening to At Home with the Rubber Ducks on 640 WHLO, your new home for Akron RubberDucks Baseball, powered by First Energy.
Are you looking for a great apartment with the best location? Fir Hill Towers Apartments is just a 5-minute walk to the University of Akron or a 5-minute drive downtown. You'll find spacious living, convenience, and fun with a wide variety of restaurants and entertainment just outside your door. Perfectly suited for young professionals and students on the go looking for off-campus living. Stop by 55 First Street Hill, Akron, or call 330-762-7000. That's 330-762-7000 today and reserve your apartment home.
There aren't many things in life that are easy. There's easy listening music, easy chairs, easy money. But did you know that you can enjoy all three while getting rid of your old energy-wasting refrigerator? You can schedule a pickup without moving from your easy chair. We'll haul it away and even pay you for it. So go ahead, take it easy, and let us take it from here. First Energy's Ohio Utilities will pick up your fridge and you'll get $50. Just visit EnergySaveOhio.com to schedule a pickup. Now that's easy.
What's better than a good steak? A great steak at a great value in a fun place. Texas Roadhouse. From fall-off-the-bone ribs to made-from-scratch sides, we've got something for everybody. Great steak at a great value. Texas Roadhouse. Located at 4310 Lake Point Corporate Drive in Stowe. And now offering drive-through, carry-out, and curbside service. Visit TexasRoadhouse.alohaorderonline.com or call 330-920-9844.
Bridgestone Drive Guard tires deliver a clutch performance that won't leave you stranded on the side of a rural road or a busy highway. They're engineered to take a puncture and to keep running up to 50 miles after a flat at 50 miles an hour. Plus, you'll get the smooth, quiet ride and impressive tread wear life you've come to expect from Bridgestone tires. Let the clutch performance of Bridgestone Drive Guard tires give you peace of mind. Bridgestone, proud sponsor of the Akron Rubber Ducks.
Here at Sarah Auto Park, community service has always been a priority of ours. These days, that spirit is more important than ever. Join us as we do everything we can to take care of our doctors, nurses, all other essential businesses, and their employees. If our community needs us for anything, even to safely get a bag of groceries to our most vulnerable, we're here. We'll get through this together. Sarah Auto Park.
No savvy traveler likes long lines or waiting around. So, lucky for you, the Akron-Canton Airport is easy and fast. With affordable on-site parking, quick check-in, and short security lines, you'll be through the airport in just minutes. CAK gives you more freedom to enjoy the things you love, like vacationing. With low fares to 11 nonstop destinations and just one stop to the world, book your next adventure from CAK.
Rubber Ducks fans, check out City Barbecue in Fairlawn for the best barbecue in town.
I gotta tell you, City Barbecue is the best smoked meats I've ever experienced in my life.
Literally the best beef brisket sandwich I've ever had.
Definitely the best barbecue I've ever had.
My best all-around barbecue experience ever.
Best barbecue around.
Some of the best barbecue I've personally tasted.
I highly recommend this spot for some of the best BBQ you'll ever have.
Visit citybarbecue.com or stop by 2870 West Market Street in Fairlawn.
Everyone at Honda wants you to be safe. And right now, you need a car you can count on and your dealer to go the extra mile. So if your Honda needs parts or service, we're right here ready to help. Working to follow all government guidelines in order to get you what you need and help you stay safe with a reliable car that's ready to go when you need it.
Visit NorthernOhioHondaDealers.com.
This is At Home with the Rubber Ducks on 640 WHLO.
Relay home, it is not in time. Two-run double by Mejia. Akron now leads at 6-2.
Your new home for Rubber Ducks baseball, powered by First Energy.
Welcome back. This is Jim Clark, and this portion of At Home with the Rubber Ducks is brought to you in part by Visit Jacksonville and Gold and Crisp Potato Chips, both presenting Rubber Ducks baseball. Now more with David Wallace. Well, this spring the virus hits and it changes everything. What have you done this summer?
That was a good question. So not a whole lot of baseball, which is unfortunate. It has been amazing to see our organization, our player development go into action, and the communication and the effort to help the players that are not up in Lake County or in the big leagues right now, at the alternate side, 60-man pool, whatever that number is. For those that aren't there, that are home and don't have a season, we're trying to help them develop in any way we can and provide them whatever resources we can so that it's not just a completely lost year. So I think like most everybody else, there's a lot of Zoom, there's a lot of computer, there's, FaceTime, texting, emailing, and all of that. A lot of video and kind of breaking down some mechanics and then trying to help guys as they continue to develop. But I haven't been traveling, been home in Florida. Lucky enough to have some opportunities to get involved in some stuff outside of baseball that's kept me busy, just some kind of real estate or land development stuff that I have some family and family friends involved down here. So that's been a challenge to kind of learn a little bit of a new industry and not to replace baseball, because I don't think I could find anything that would replace it, but I'm certainly itching, as many of us are, to get back into a stadium, get back in the clubhouse, dugout, and watch it live. But for now, it's pretty much watching the Tribe every night on the iPad or TV, and then just trying to, staying involved and helping our minor leaguers, develop any way they can, get bigger, stronger, faster, and, really spend some deep dive on any mechanical changes that need to be made, and, go for there.
It seems like I've been watching like you have every night, and it seems like the pitching is so far ahead of the hitting, and I would imagine that during the time they were off and away from everybody, pitchers can keep routines, can throw, can do bullpens, do all they're supposed to do, but hitters, what do they do? Not finding people to hit against, and boy, the pitching just seems like it's leaps and bounds ahead of the hitters, and it really still is.
I agree. Yeah, I think we're seeing that, and it makes sense. You don't need as many resources as a pitcher to work on your craft and to do that as a hitter does. Even during the season, we're always trying to find a way to help hitters develop. And, one of the big conversations the last few years has been facing velocity. All these pitchers, and the velocities certainly are going up, and so let's take a deep look into, is our normal traditional way of taking batting practice, where the coach is just throwing 50, 55 miles an hour, trying to groove it basically, is that the most effective way to develop? Because it's certainly not very close to what you're going to see in the game. So you look at machines, and you can certainly get some velocity off the machines, but anybody that's done that knows that is a different timing as well. And all that to say, nobody's found a perfect way to emulate facing a live pitcher in practice, and there's only so much you can do asking your pitchers to throw to your hitters at full speed, because they've got such a heavy load and the games and innings and stuff that it's difficult. You can't ask them to do more. You're putting them at an injury risk. So I think that's what we're seeing. It's taking the hitters a little bit longer to adjust back to the velocity that they just haven't seen. And it's difficult, as we said earlier. I couldn't do it when I had all the resources, but it's been fun to watch, and I'm excited to see how this, what are we? Are we into the second half of the year
Pretty
yet?
Much.
Of the 60-game season, but and then the playoffs, coming up. I feel good about our chances there, and then see what we can put together.
Well, you just think, you watch his pitching staff has been so dominant, and you're thinking, boy, if we could just get 3 guys going who hit consecutively, Ramirez, Lindor, Santana, they could really be tough to beat when it gets down to it.
And I think so. It's almost, I wouldn't say it's a good sign that they're not hitting, but with their track records, I fall right short of just saying we know they're going to hit. So look at Jose Ramirez last year. I mean, just a very difficult first half. And we all, we're saying for so long, we know he's going to hit. He has hit. He's proven he can hit. He's going to hit. And then it kind of got to where we're like, oh no, is he going to hit? And then boom, he just came back to life, found whatever adjustment, timing it was, and, finished very strong. I believe that's going to happen again. I think Frankie, I'm not worried about him at all. Santana. So I think it's almost a great sign that we're competing the way we are, obviously, led by the pitching staff right now. But once that comes around, once the offense comes around, and I've full confidence that it will, because of not only who the players are, but their track records, and then obviously the staff up there working with them, which is really neat to see. Some of the guys like Justin Toole and Tony Manzolino, Kyle Hudson, those guys getting an opportunity to be, right there in the mix and helping those guys out. I'm excited for the rest of the year. I'm excited to see what happens, because I think it's going to come around. And, you put that lineup and that staff together, I like our chances.
Boy, now Tristan McKenzie can very well be in the mix after the performance last Saturday night.
Wow. Yeah, that was fun to watch. And I was, I'm certainly not alone in this, but so happy for him, and to see what he's gone through the last couple of years with some injuries and the work he's put in. I know he's looking for a lot more than just one, great debut, but couldn't be more happy for him.
Well, David, thanks for taking the time. It's always great to catch up with you, and, just stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you in Akron in the clubhouse, hopefully next April, May, and June.
I think so. We'll do, and I appreciate it. I miss my time up in Ohio, especially Akron and Cleveland. Look forward to getting back up there soon.
Thanks again to David Wallace. Join us next Sunday at 6 o'clock for the season's final edition of That Home with the Rubber Ducks. I'm Jim Clark for Marco Lanabe. So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to At Home with the Rubber Ducks. To listen to previous shows or for more Rubber Ducks baseball, follow the Akron Rubber Ducks podcast on the iHeartRadio app. For the latest on the team, go to AkronRubberDucks.com and follow the Akron Rubber Ducks on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Akron Rubber Ducks Baseball. Affordable family fun.